Hello Capricorn, welcome or welcome back to Mind, Body and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do the reading for the month of July 2020. Hope you're well, Capricorn. This is a general reading for Capricorn Sun, Moon and Rising signs. And if it resonates, it resonates, and if it doesn't, it just doesn't. Alright, my dear Capricorn, you have Saturn returning in, or has returned already into Capricorn. We had a full moon in Capricorn, eclipse. So we've been all working with your energy. Thank you. Seven of Swords as your current energy. We've all been working with the Capricorn Cancer axis again. We've been closing that axis actually with this eclipse. And yes, Saturn had a trip in Aquarius, but now he's back in Capricorn. It's going to be here until the end of the year. Six of Swords as your challenge. And you had a lot of attention on you lately, for quite a while now, with all these outer planets. Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter being in Capricorn and not necessarily being very friendly to each other there either. So bear with it, Capricorn. I think this is like Saturn is closing this cycle for you, and hey, Saturn is your ruler. It may feel both comforting and somewhat difficult to have it in your house. Like there's a lot of pressure, right? But hey, this is amazing work. This is really amazing work. There you go. You have the Sun as your advice. You need to see that this is amazing work that you've been doing, and we've all been doing it with you, with your leadership, with your guidance, with your understanding of yourself as an archetype, and how that archetype manifests in your life, whether it's your Sun, Moon, or Rising, you know. So yeah. On behalf of humanity, I am grateful for doing this work together. Yeah, definitely it's not the easiest work to do, Cap. Alright, so let's see what is the future energy for my dear Capricorn for the month of July. Ace of Swords. Fantastic. Getting some resolution. And Ace of Wands. Will you look at that? Cappies. This is really great. Having the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords here as the future energy. I think it will really, really be a good month for you to dispel whatever it is that you still not have inner clarity about, you know. Wherever you feel like you can't really get to the bottom of things. What is it that you really want? What is it that you really need? What is the inner voice that speaks truth? Discernment of that inner voice can sometimes be a huge problem. And the Seven of Swords here can tell me that you're maybe researching this, analyzing this a lot, but this analysis that you're doing at a mind level might end up confusing you even more. Okay, I'm gonna pull out the clarifier as well first. So, why is the Seven of Swords here as your current energy? The Emperor and the Devil. There you go. That's what you're not being fully honest about. And yeah, we're gonna talk through this. Let's take out the other ones. So why is the Six of Swords here as your challenge? Ten of Swords. One more, please. Why the Six of Swords and the Ten of Swords here as the challenge for my dear Capricorn? What needs to end? What do you need to move away from? Father of Wands. Very interesting. Why is the Sun here as your advice? Why is the Sun here as advice? Two of Wands. Okay, and why is the Ace of Swords as future energy? You have the Son of Cups, the Son of Swords, and the Five of Cups. Alright, and bottom of the deck we have Strength. Strength, my dear. Strength with the Ace of Wands. This is double Leo energy, so if you have Leo in your chart, it may be a good idea to check out the other reading for Leo as well to get the fuller picture. If you do have Leos in your life that are very present right now, they may be part of your process somehow. So Ace of Wands of the Strength here as the bottom of the deck. This is the theme of your reading, what you are working with this month, right? And you are obviously opening up. You're opening up to your inner power, to the beautiful inner power that you've been maybe trying to control, that you've been maybe afraid of, that you've been overused or abused sometimes. Well, now with the Strength, it's that understanding of how to work with your wild side, through compassion, through taming the wild side in a gentle and caring way, rather than punish it or take advantage of it. Sometimes you can definitely abuse, we can definitely abuse our inner wild side every once in a while, by not having discernment how to use it, or how, I don't know, how long to use it. I don't know if it ever happened to you to overwork yourself, Capricorn. Maybe once or twice in your life, you may be familiar with that, you know, when you really have a lot of energy, then you put a lot on yourself, and then you work, and then, you know, you just keep draining that inner power to the point that eventually it will lead to a fall. So I think you're starting to really tap into how to use this power, you know, rather than misuse. Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is like, whew, like a beautiful awakening around that. And it's also, it's opening up a new cycle around your spiritual journey. This is also fire energy, so they're both like very much on the spirit, about your spiritual world and experience. Okay, I know what that was. I don't know if you heard it. All right, so it's a really beautiful, gentle process. You're required to be gentle in this process, more like. It is scary to work with the dark side, with the wild side, with our sexuality. We have Mars in Aries, home in Aries, and being quite pissed, you know, like. I think Mars has a lot to say right now, and it may come out in anger. It may come out in repressing of our anger. It may come out in so many different ways for us. For what I see here, you're having issue around control right now. Maybe you're trying to control your environment way too much. That means you're like, I don't know, outside environment, people, you know, finding safety outside of yourself. And that's your role, Capricorn. This is the role of the Capricorn archetype, right? To find security outside of oneself. But that can lead in over control, because we are all terrified little kids somewhere deep down inside. And those terrified little kids end up having to be protected by an equal force of the opposite strength, you know, in a sense. I hope that makes sense to someone out there. When you know, we need to compensate for that fear, and then we become overprotective. We become like really fended up. With the devil here in your current energy, I think that you're either perceiving some people outside of yourself as a real threat, then hence you need to control other people and your environment, and start rationalizing your way around it. Either you starting seeing these parts of yourself where you're feeling tied down, where you're feeling that you see these two together. It's all about deceit. It's all about illusion. It's all about how am I not being honest with myself. And what am I using for that? There's always a good story there, and the smarter you are, the better the story. The mind can do like wonders in creating very believable stories about how we're not good enough, or about how we're supposed to be smaller than we are, or to not, risk whatever it is that we believe we're risking by showing more of ourselves and allowing some spontaneity and some vulnerability. So it's good to examine that story right now. It's good to really be with it. Not from within the story, not acting out the story. That's what the mind is going to keep trying to do. And with the devil, I think you may really try to distract yourself from it, either by whatever means necessary. I mean, like, it doesn't matter if it's going to be through sports, or through sex, or through alcohol, or through partying, or through work. The act in itself of having to distract yourself from what makes you feel uncomfortable, what makes you feel unhappy right now, what makes you feel small, what makes you feel unworthy. That very act, it would work against you at this point. So really, you gotta do your best to relax with what's uncomfortable, and relax with your mind as well. Don't try to control your mind too much. That's not how it works. I know there are a lot of meditations out there that, or teachers or whatever, that talk about you need to control your mind, you need to control your mind. That's not how it works. We need to step out of the mind, and we need to observe the mind and allow it to do everything that it does as it does it. Because the moment I'm starting to deny or refuse or try to control what's going on in the workings of the mind, that the mind will gonna, the shadow will start hide itself, because it's afraid of inner criticism, rejection, this and that. You know the story. All your fears. We are so terrified that we're gonna get that treatment outside of yourself, outside of ourselves. But actually, this is what we're doing to ourselves within ourselves. We are the one rejecting ourselves. We are the one shutting ourselves down. We are the one building up a fence and isolating ourselves from different aspects of ourselves, from the world. We are the one refusing to nourish the parts of ourselves that we deem too dark or too scary to even tap into. And then we start over controlling ourselves, and then the outside environment, probably. You're trying to over control yourself also because you're afraid of yourself. It's not just about the others. It's not just about being hurt. You're afraid that, like, I don't know, with Mars also in Aries, like, I feel we can all feel a little bit of that, When we know that we have so much bottled up rage and anger and strong emotions, that we're afraid that if we tap a tiny bit into them, they will just take over, and it will, like, destroy everything. But that's the beauty of this. It's going to happen slowly, and it's going to happen with compassion. Not by controlling, not by saying this does not belong, this I don't like in myself, this I want to cut off, this, that. No. It's that moment where we're really like, hey, we're having an inner conference here. Okay, I want all aspects of myself to show up at this table and have a voice and have their word to say, no matter how absurd, no matter how irrational, no matter how scandalous, no matter how crazy. It's fine. They all belong somehow, and you're doing this with awareness and with gentleness. Acceptance. It's acceptance. It's radical acceptance. Yeah. So you have the Six of Swords, the Ten of Swords as your challenge, and then the Father of Wands came later on as the character within you that needs to be let go of. You see, Six of Swords is a moving on energy. You may be aware of what's showing up in here. You may be aware that you're somehow dishonest with yourself, or there's something that you are unwilling to see or unwilling to feel, because it's terrifying you, because it's painful, because it's opening a deep old wound. And it is challenging for you to take that mind shift to allow for this to happen. Obviously, it's easy because the mind is terrified of this Ten of Swords, which is like, look at this, it's pretty bleak and dark. No, wait, this is Wands, this is not Swords. True. Well, this looks pretty dark too. The Ten of Wands is that moment where we feel like, okay, yeah, we're growing spiritual, but we're also complicating our lives terribly. When you learn that you need to take a shift, to make a move, to let something go off, in this case, maybe the performer within yourself, the part of yourself that really always needs to show up in a certain way, the one that's got it all together, the man with the plan, the strong one, the nurturing, the whatever. There's not much for nurturing in there, but you know, the inspirational leader, all that. Maybe you need to relax that part of yourself a little bit. You don't need to be that. When I'm saying you need to let it go, it's not like killing a side of ourselves or pushing it away or not allowing it to exist. No, it's more about like not having to be that. Not having to be that one particular persona or character in order for you to believe or feel that you deserve to be loved, or that you deserve anything at all, that you are worth something, you know. And I think that this complicates a lot your spiritual journey, because that gives room for a lot more possibilities. Okay, so if I don't strive to become this particular character that I've been striving to become my whole life, then what else is out there? How can I live my life? Where can I put all these massive amounts of energy towards? I would feel drifting, aimless, whatever. You see, this Six of Swords is talking like these people have been through shit here. The Five of Swords is pretty bad. It feels very intense, and they're moving. You know, they're moving on because there was no kindness to them where they were before. So this mind shift, then it's like, it's about mind and emotions. There's water there, you know, you're like, your mind is navigating your emotions, but your emotions are clear right now. You see, there's reflection here. So there is the need for surrender, which is not going to come easy. The surrendering of like this having to be who you want it to be, and it will bring this closing of a cycle, which, as I said, it may feel as if like too much is required of you. Maybe your path or your journey requires you not something that's necessarily difficult to do in the real world. Say maybe you don't need to sell all your belongings and go in a temple and become a monk. That's not what I'm saying, or none. It can be that if that's your call. No judgment, no problem there. But it could be simply like something that sounds so little but can be so major to you. Not having to have your shit together all the time in front of everyone. Not having to, you know, allowing a moment of vulnerability and not feeling ashamed of it. Allowing yourself to be seen as the beautiful child within yourself right here. Allowing that child to come out and play without having to be the structural, very intense, disciplined father to yourself. You know, this kid needs to play. That's your inner child, of course, but you know, I mean much more about these aspects of yourself that are playful, are kind, are joyful, are silly. Allow yourself to be silly. Allow yourself to, and to do so consciously, to make a choice to show more of yourself, to make a choice to Bring more on the table. Bring all of yourself on the table. First at the inner table and next at the table with actual people in your life. Allow the parts of yourself that you maybe feel they make you look soft or weak. Allow them to have a voice and surface as well. Not just the tough, the the confident, the strong, the pathfinder, the whatever it is that your internal idea of ideal self looks like. Provider, no. All right, so you have the Ace of Swords with the Son of Cups, Son of Swords, and the Five of Wands as your future energy. Ace of Swords is definitely that resolution. You finally get the mind clarity. You finally understand, like, what is it that you are trying to justify in here? What was this whole fear-based rationalization process in which you may be trying to find excuses for behaviors that are controlling and are coming from a pretty dark place within yourself that you're not willing to admit in the beginning, where now, whatever. But with the Ace of Swords here, as you play with this more, as you allow yourself to just like really integrate, not fear the shadow, but play with this lion, learn how to make friends with it. Give it a little bit of food, let it play, keep your distance, do it, make it a practice. Take time with it. Don't just go in a meditation and expect that everything is going to change suddenly. It's creating and forming a relationship with the wild side of yourself. And a playful one, and a conscious one, something that you do on purpose, yeah? I think I'm repeating myself. So, Ace of Swords brings that mental clarity because you're getting this from your own experience. And it's not that the idea will come and then you will do it. It's more about that you feel called to come out from a deeper part of yourself, that body awareness, that child, that heart space. This is again, Leo energy. Leo talks about the heart, opening the heart chakra, all that. And you see, you have the Son of Cups here, which is a very dreamy energy, and somebody who's in touch with their emotions, maybe sometimes a little bit too much, and like teenagers, they're trying to understand their own boundaries and understand their own emotions while being flooded with loads of hormones, and yeah, it's a very confusing time for sure. But you with the Ace of Swords here, I think you're getting clarity, or you are feeling safe to experiment with these parts of yourself, the more emotional part of you, and the part of the Son of Swords, communicate how to communicate the needs that come from within, from the emotional self, from this inner child. Cappies, you're fucking fantastic, and you're like, man, you've got so much power and so much energy, but you're definitely not necessarily the most in touch with your emotions and best at communicating them. And communicating when you feel grief, when you feel loss, when you feel emotional doom and gloom, accept the bliss and accept the gloom as well. And it's okay to talk about it when you feel like it. It's okay to be in touch with it. It's okay to learn to communicate it, whether to people in your life, whether through writing, or whether through, channel, whatever it is that you do. Find your way. Allow yourself to make mistakes in this. These are both sons. As I said, they're a teenager. You're just playing with it. You're having fun with it. How do I say this? Okay, I just said it in this way and didn't really go that well. Okay, let's feel again. Maybe I say it more in this other way. I become more gentle or whatever. Oh shit, that sounds a little bit too emotional. So cheesy. Ooh. All right, that doesn't make sense. Let's try again. Be playful about it. And allow to feel everything that's in there. Everything is what's in your emotional spectrum. Okay, I'm going to pull out a Rumi Oracle card to hopefully give you a good comprehensive message. Okay, so So you have from nothing to everything. This is the number 16. So 7. Okay, so from nothing to everything, the poem from Rumi says, "Oh, my friend, if you are longing to be written on, become a blank page." Rumi. And how long is this? Read a bit too long. But yeah, I feel, yeah, I'm gonna read it. There are moments on the path of love that seem to focus on letting go of identities, of knowledge and certainty, of opinion, and even attempts to control. That's exactly what we are talking about. Yes. We may feel as though we are being stripped back to our core, and even then, perhaps further still, we may wonder if we can bear it. What shall, if at all, remain intact through these rigors? We may feel challenged every time we attempt to become something great, as though we are blocked by circumstances beyond our control. Again and again, it is as though a greater hand smacks our wrists the moment we try to take hold of something firmly, someone, anything that brings us certainty or inner stability. Such are the rigors at an advanced stage on the path. There you go with the 10. That's why this is a challenge. You're an advanced stage of the path. And yeah, it's not easy. It becomes, it asks for more and more sacrifices, or at least that's what it feels for our ego mind. Such are the rigors at an advanced stage on the path. We meet this challenge when your soul is ready for it, when our soul is ready for it. Why must it be thus? This is a sage question indeed. When we are asked to dispense with our story, the interpretations we have given to our life experiences over the years, we may not hear the request at first. We may vaguely note it, but not recognize the great divine source asking this of us, and so we do not give such an inclination due accord. We may persist with spinning our own tales instead. Our mind may fancy itself to be a great storyteller, impressed with its own judgments and declarations, yet in the light of comparison with the divine tale of our soul, all our fancies shall pass away, revealed as so very frail, like clouds dissipating in the sky. Perhaps we are graced with the realization there is so much more. I think this is what you're realizing, the Ace of Wands here, and the Strength. There is so much more. Or perhaps we still don't get the hint and move into struggle as we try to enact what we think our story should be. That's the whole need of control and the anxiety that comes from. The more you try to control, the worse it feels and it gets. Okay, let me continue reading, Andrea. Okay. Or perhaps we still don't get the hint and move into struggle as we try to enact what we think our story should be. We may hit obstacle after obstacle and create even more terror in our storytelling, that life is such a pain, a struggle, that success may not be for us, that we are forgotten and unheard. Yet we could equally choose to wonder if obstacle after obstacle, closed door after closed door, is just a prompt to look for the open window to climb through. And if so, instead of seeking to impose our small story upon the great truth, we can live the truth of our divine destiny. Then something magical happens. We participate through presence with the unfolding story of our soul journey. We open up to whatever is asked for us, presented to us, happening through us, as we choose each day to come alive as much as we can. Then, as if by magic, there is something else that occurs. That would be grace, real, rich, dripping with goodness and sustenance. Grace. This is the sacred blessing that enables us to pay attention to opening doors rather than closing ones. The divine assistance that lets us know our life is proceeding according to a greater intelligence and plan. Once we stop thinking quite so much and live day to day, we will be blessed with the realization that our individual life story is so much more extraordinary and perfect than anything we could have summoned, even with our wildest imagination. This oracle comes with guidance for you. You are being asked to let go to receive, to become empty so you can be filled. This may mean letting go of an attachment to a lover so you can receive genuine love. It may be of no longer holding on to a fantasy of your dream job, but being guided into your most soulful and successful vocation. It may mean letting go of wishes for your body or health to be other than it is, so you can simply get on with living each day, taking steps into wellness without thinking beyond one day at a time. It is a divine paradox that when we are asked to surrender a story or fantasy, it is because reality is knocking at our door more often than not with the delivery of what we have been fantasizing about, but in the best way for us. The human experience of this paradox is that you may feel you are giving up hope, that your fantasy is dying. It may be very painful, bring you much grief. But all that is dying is your attachment, an opinion about how it must be. This needs to happen so you can stop dreaming and start living it. This is what is happening for you now. Do not fear any part of your process. Embrace it without expectation and with trust in your heart that the divine is simply guiding you from fantasy into fulfillment. There's a sacred honoring ritual. If you feel the call to do it, go for it. So place your hands in prayer and bow your head. Say aloud, I choose to trust in the great genius unfolding in my life. I give thanks for the blessings of grace now flowing into my heart. I have no need to know. I trust in the perfection of my being unfolding with innate intelligence and wisdom. Rumi, who loves me unconditionally, holds me in his protection. And I accept my destiny with a peaceful and trusting heart. Please help me surrender the stories, attachments, fantasies, and fears that have held me back from living my heart's desires fully. I now choose unconditional trust in the loving genius of life to lead me into my fulfilled destiny now. So be it. And that completes your ritual. All right, Capricorn. Well, that's the thing. It may look scary, but it's actually it's a blessing in disguise. And that's definitely the case with the sun here, the choice card that tells you that you have choice, the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Wands. You've got a lot of supportive energy. So whenever you notice this strong attempts at control, remember this, remember that you are not having to impose a particular story. Allow yourself to live the story that has been. It's coming from much higher space than your actual mind, right? All right, Capricorn, that's a very inspiring journey. I hope this makes sense to you. If it resonates for you, please like, share, subscribe, comment, say hi, or how does this actually resonate with you? And may our practice benefit all beings. I'll see you here next month.